So, we've got our warm-up. The first thing that we need to talk about today is having a creepy person staring at me while I'm walking with my family. I'm not going to name names, Owen, but this young man said, "I saw you running." No, I don't do that. He said, "No, I saw you jogging." No, I don't do that. He goes, "Well, I saw you with your wife, your kid, wearing gym shorts and a red tank top, and you were," I'm like, okay, so you were really making sure it was Mr. H. Got it.
A beard and everything.
I don't have a beard. First off, this is rough. This is just like this is like a 5 o'clock shadow. I shaved yesterday. Okay, so quiz tomorrow. Your quiz will look similar to this. We know 4 different shapes right now on how to find the area. For rectangles, parallelograms, and squares, the formula should be area equals base times height. Everybody with me still? For triangles are half of a rectangle, half of a square, and half of a parallelogram. So the formula for a triangle is area equals base times height divided by 2 because it's half. So here, I'm going to start off with area equals base times height. Remember, when we're talking about the base times the height, we want to find the right angle. What 2 sides does it touch? Ms. Adams, what 2 sides does my right angle touch? Give me numbers. 3.5. What? Say it more mathematically. 3 and what?
5/10.
Very good. 3 and 5/10. And I'm going to times that by what? 2, because those are the 2 sides it touches. If we're having trouble with multiplication with decimals, okay, notice how I write, this only has 1 digit, I put that on the bottom. 2 times 5 is 10. I can only put the ones unit, I carry the 10. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. I had somebody say, "Hey, do we just bring the decimal straight down?" No. You have to count from your right to your left. How many decimal places is it? 1. So I have to start from my right to the left, bring it. So my area is 7 0/10 meters squared. Area is always squared. You will miss points if you do not have the unit squared. Questions on area equals base times height. Yes, ma'am?
Does it have to have a 0 on it?
No, ma'am. If you just have area equals 7 meters squared, that's absolutely fine as well. Good question.
Mr. H and I have seen progress because
Can't wait.
almost 95% of our class got that one right with the decimal point.
That's fantastic, guys.
Multiplying.
Good. So yesterday must have helped a little bit. That's good. And I've seen some of you been coming in for extra help. Listen, that really makes me proud. Now, this is where it gets a little bit trickier. This is a parallelogram. The formula stays the same of area equals base times height. First step, find your right angle. And I'm not going to lie. Right now, it's only touching one thing. It's only touching the 7. But it's also touching this bottom side. What do we know about parallelograms and their opposite sides? Trevor?
The opposite side is the same.
What's a better word than same? It starts with a C. Congruent. So if the top is 8 feet, what does the bottom have to be?
8 feet.
Very good. Those sides are congruent. So now it's touching 7 and 8. Base times height, because it's not a triangle. Triangles we cut in half. So now I've got 7 times 8, which is 56. Got to keep up our street cred. Feet squared. You guys forget, I am so gangster. Questions here? Okay. Show of hands, you got that one right. Good. Number 3. Now we're getting a little bit trickier. This is a little bit trickier. Find your right angle. Now it's touching this dashed line and this dashed line. Just with letters, what's my formula for a triangle? Go ahead, Layden.
Base times height divided by 2.
Very good. Base times height divided by 2. And remember, our base and height are where the right angle touches. So I have 5, and then I have this dashed line. So my area equals 5 times something divided by 2. Well, when we have this dashed line, we don't want the part outside of the triangle. We actually want the part of the triangle. In this case, it is 5. So now I have area equals 5 times 5 divided by 2. What do I have to do next?
Find out 5 times 5.
Yeah, what do we call that? What's the top called? Gabe, do you remember what the top's called?
Numerator?
Very good. So we have to multiply just the numerator. So now we have A equals 25 divided by 2. Still with me? Now we actually have to do that. Some of us can do it in our heads. I'm not that smart. I need to do long division. 2 divided by 25. The denominator goes on the outside, numerator goes on the inside. Divider, dividend. Divisor, dividend. 2 goes into 2 how many times, Maddie? Once, because 1 times 2 is 2. We subtract. 2 minus 2 is 0. We bring the next number down. Izzy, 2 goes into 5 how many times? 2. 2 times 2 is 4. And now I have a remainder of 1 and I'm done. Yay!
No, you gotta put a 0.
Whoa, whoa, where do I put a 0?
To the right of
Next to
5.
1.
To the right of the 5.
No, next to the 1.
Next to the 1. Closer to the 5. Tell me exactly what I have to do to 25. Emma.
Put a decimal point behind the 5 and then a 0.
Tell me what the number needs to be. What am I going to make 25?
25 is 10.
There we go. Listen. Emma, say it one more time because I want to make sure everybody hears it.
25 is 0.
We've got to make this 25 and 0/10. Okay? Use mathematical terminology so we know exactly what's happening. The decimal immediately goes straight up. The 0 comes straight down. Opposites. So the 0 comes down. Now we can say 2 goes into 10 how many times, Ryan? 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. No more remainder. So my area is 12 and 5/10 inches squared. Oh man, I wish it was National Talk Like a Pirate Day every day. And whoever went to your choir teacher and said, Mr. H is talking like a pirate, she brought me a hook. I had a hook for the rest of the day. It was amazing.
It's her hook.
I know, she was telling me about it this morning. Okay, last one. This is the new one. Make sure you are paying attention and writing this down. What shape do we have? Go ahead on. Rectangle. What formula would we use for a rectangle?
Base times height.
Area equals base times height. What do we already know about this figure? Do we have the area?
Yes.
Yes. So instead of putting A equals, I'm going to put 55 equals. We're missing this one. We've got our right angle, so we've got at least one of the sides. So I'm going to say we've got the first one, but we're missing H. So now I have a one-step equation. I've got 55 equals 11 times H. Gabe, what do I do?
Add 11 and 11 together and then subtract it from 55 and then you see what
Not quite.
divided by 2 and then...
Not quite.
You could divide it, but or you can just times 11 by 5.
Yeah, so you can do this in your head and you say, you know it's by 5. I want to prove that it's by 5 by dividing, like you said. I want to isolate the variable, which means get H by itself. So we do the inverse operation. 11 divided by 11 is what? 1, just 1. 11 divided by 11 is 1. 1 what? 1 H. But if I divide the right side by 11, got to divide the left side by 11. So this leaves me with 5. Is that my answer? If you put this, do you think I would count this correct?
No.
Why not?
Does it have to have units?
No, not units squared. We already have area. Area is units squared.
The actual unit?
So it should just be 5
Okay.
feet. Can you check this to make sure it works?
Yes.
Yeah, substitute it back in. 5 times 11, does that give me 55? Yes. Questions on this? Okay, so we're going to still keep using the same piece of paper, so if you need to flip it over, that's fine. I'm going to leave that one there. You're going to do 2 more for me. One a little bit easier, one a little bit harder. So here's the 2 more. So, area equals 72 feet squared. You're finding the missing side. Let's go 6 feet and a question mark. And then number 2, area equals 6 4/10 meters squared. And this side is 1 6/10 meters. This one's a little bit trickier. We'll see how we do. You'll see why I have number 2 up there. Is that going to be one of them on the quiz tomorrow? Probably not. But will you see something like that on your review? Absolutely. Because if you want exempt from your quiz tomorrow, there's a little game that we're going to play. Start by writing the equation. Start by writing the equation. I don't expect you to be done, but I want to set up the equations with you, so you're going to help me. What shape is this? Raise your hands. Raise your hands. What shape is this? Jackson.
Rectangle.
Rectangle. How do we find the area of a rectangle, Ella? A equals what?
Base times height.
Good. So let's start substituting in. That means replacing the letters with numbers. Cece, what can go in for A? Well, what does it say A is?
72.
72. So I'm going to have 72 equals, Renee, what am I going to put? Well, what do we have here? 6. I'm going to put 6. Does it matter which letter? No. There's that equation. You should be able to solve that. Let's try number 2. Is this still a rectangle? Luke, I know you haven't been here. Show me how smart you are. What's going to be my equation?
6.4.
What?
6 4/10.
Thank you. Equals
1 16.
Good. So now you have the equations to solve. Go ahead, try them.
Because I can have my phone in class if I want. See,
Okay.
you know what I'm
Okay, so listen, Jackson had this locked down. Jackson said, Mr. H, I've got this. Jackson, what did you do to solve for this first one?
I divided it.
You divided. I'm going to divide both sides by 6. Because 6 divided by 6 is 1H. What'd you get when you divided 72 by 6?
I got 12.
12. What unit has to be with it?
Square.
Not squared. Can somebody help him?
Feet.
Yeah, there you go. 12 feet. Questions on how I got that one? Layton.
Is it okay if I just use the multiplication chart though?
Sure. Use it for number 2. Okay, that's why we have to, you know the equation. Okay? Because you're not going to have a multiplication chart for decimals. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. What am I dividing here? Trevor, what do I have to divide from both sides? Do you know? You can say no. Okay. Maddie?
6 and 4 tenths and 1 6 tenths.
Well, which one am I going to divide? Am I dividing 6 and 4 tenths, or am I dividing both sides by 1 and 6 tenths? Not quite. So guess again. So if I'm not dividing the 6 and 4 tenths, which number? Yeah. We're trying to get the b isolated by itself. So I'm going to divide both sides by 1 and 6 tenths. That leaves me with b equals. Now here's our problem. It's probably been a while since you've seen division like this. Can I divide when I have a decimal? So I move my outside decimal over 1. What do I have to do to the inside? Move it over 1. So now 16 goes into 64. Well, 16 times 1, 4, carry the 2, do inside. Oh. So b equals 4. Is that my answer?
No.
No, you have to keep b equals 4 meters. And we will absolutely help you with this on your review. Questions?